Oh good, they also have a field spell, Autodrome, which is made by the same creator, and its text is Jibijibjib. Makes sense to me. It has been almost 3 months since I last looked at any custom cards on Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling Book, and that's for a few reasons. First off, I think that by the time that I was looking at them 3 months ago, or about 3 months ago, they were already sort of, terrible, right? The format was completely broken, if you can really call it a format, and I made that last video talking about a card, and I'll show you guys it again, that says, please stop making terrible cards, or something along those lines. And the reason that I made that card is because I noticed that a lot of times in the custom dueling like duels, people just make these ridiculous cards. Every single card is like Astrograph Sorcerer in terms of how much text it has, and I think a lot of players that are making these custom cards are sort of missing like the simplicity that makes a lot of sort of modern Yu-Gi-Oh cards kind of interesting. I know people think Yu-Gi-Oh is very complicated in 2019, and it certainly is, but if you look at some archetypes, a lot of them just have a card that's like a searcher or a special summon from the graveyard. They don't have paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraph. Some cards do, don't get me wrong, but every card in Archetype, not usually, outside of like Pendulum Monsters. But in today's video, I wanted to go back and look at these custom cards in Dueling Book just to see what's happened. And I also am very curious how many custom cards there are. So if we go into Deck Constructor, I'll show you guys real quick my custom card. So my custom card was called Stop Making Stupid Cards, Please. Very straightforward card. It's a link one that says one effect monster. If this card is summoned while your opponent controls a monster that is unaffected by card effects, you win the duel. The problem with this, and the problem with like all these custom cards, is that for every card that I make that's like this, there's a counter card to it. There's one card that I even showed in that last video that I think like counteracted my own card that said like if your opponent summons something that says you win the duel or they win the duel, they automatically like that effect is negated. So like there's like this advanced metagame, and I think it's really not what people thought it would be, where it's like, oh, everyone just kind of trying out their own archetypes. It seems like in some cases people just want to troll the format. Perfectly fine. It's not like ranked or anything, so it really doesn't matter. But for those of people out there, not necessarily me, but for people out there that are actually looking to like play like with their own custom cards in situations that aren't totally broken, it's pretty tough out there for them. And also I want to say that the other reason I didn't do this video is that like every single day since I posted that video, like I got custom card requests, even though in that video at the very beginning, just like in this video, I'm now going to say, please don't send me your custom cards. Even if you think they're very cool, I'm sure they're great. I personally just don't care that much about custom cards. It's interesting to look at them from time to time in a video, but in terms of like sitting down, I don't want to review like your 60 card archetype. There's plenty of forums out there like on Reddit to look at it, and I'm sure even people on like Dueling Book would be happy to play against you and see what they're up for. I personally just want to look at like real cards for the most part outside of these videos, so I'm still getting requests like every single day. Maybe it's died down a little bit, maybe like once every couple days here, of people that send me the same message every single time. I know you said not to send you custom cards, but I think you'll really like mine. Please just don't do that. Anyway, let's look at some custom cards people have updated. I do want to say that there were, before I click this button, so there were, the last time I was on Dueling Book looking at custom cards, there were 2,500 pages of custom cards, which equals about 50,000 custom cards, which is insane, because that was made in just like a month. There's only about 10,000 real Yu-Gi-Oh cards. People are just cranking these out like way faster than Konami is, obviously because they're like half of them are garbage, probably more than half of them. But anyway, so just for context reasons, there were 50,000 at 2,500 pages, so let's take a look and see how many pages there are. Oh my god. So there's over 100,000 custom cards out there. Like, oh my, so almost 150,000, right? Man, that's just crazy. People love custom cards. Like, they love creating custom cards. I thought what we do is kind of go through here and see some of the garbage. See, hopefully the goal is to find, what if we can find like a good card or two good cards? Because I remember when I made the first video talking about the custom cards on Dueling Book, it took me a while, like an hour, to find like 5 cards I thought were like kind of interesting. A lot of them are just like, okay, this one has exclamation point. Hey mom, am I famous already? I guess so, because you made it in this video. I'm sure that person, see, like, yeah, like fair, like I don't know, it's kind of interesting, right? Like for every like card that someone spends a lot of time making, a lot of time thinking about, fudging out a whole archetype, you get cards like this. So that's really interesting. Maybe we'll find some non-terrible cards if we go through a few more pages. Probably not though. Look at this Wadapon, Anger Pawn 3. How, oh, it's not even an effect. See, that's, I don't know. I talked about that in the video, right? The very first custom card video. I don't really like, I think I'm just like a buzzkill and I got a ton of comments like that. I don't really find these cards funny. I don't know, like there's so many of them. Like every single person is like creating cards that are just like hilariously edgy, or I mean, this one isn't like super edgy, but you know, they're just like lots of all capital letters. They don't really have effects. I don't really find these cards super interesting. I mean, how many Corey in the House memes do you think there are in these custom cards? Probably a lot. Actually, I would be curious. Got a couple others there. See, it's like people just like, I don't know, it's not that it's like that I hate like unoriginal stuff. I'm just saying, like, in general, everyone's done this sort of like yelling at the reader sort of memes, I think. So I don't think it's like that unique anymore at this point. Oh, here we go. Here's actually like an interesting idea. There's a whole bunch of like Beyblade cards, and they all have like the same effect where you can like attach them from your hand or field to like machine type Xyz monsters. See, this is like the type of thing, and I haven't like super read through these to see if it's like balanced or not, but at the very least, this is creative, right? It's not just like throwing out like swear words. It's not just like throwing out all caps. Despite the fact that I don't know how good these cards are, at the very least, it is a creative idea. It's taking Beyblades, which is something that some people know about, not me personally very much, but it's taking some Beyblades, it's applying them to cards, and it's giving them like a unique theme. You can attach the Beyblade main deck monsters to other cards from your hand or field. That's kind of cool. This is what I think custom cards should be more like. It's maybe not the most like thought-inducive thing, because it's just taking like another sort of idea out there. Like Beyblades already exist. It's not like super original in that regard on like what the monsters are, but in terms of their effects, it's something that's cool and something that took a little bit of thought, like an ounce of thought to actually create, unlike the ones that are just like exclamation point in a video, hey mom, am I famous yet? Does that really take any creativity? Not really. It's just sort of like a troll thing. It's just sort of like a meme thing, where at least these ones took a little bit of thought for someone to actually go out there and make a whole archetype around something they probably like. They probably are interested in Beyblades and Yu-Gi-Oh! They're able to combine them. I think that's what custom cards should be all about. Okay, so I was like on this page and I was like, man, does everyone just put exclamation points at the start of all their cards? Because like there was this Legion archetype where there was like a whole page of them, and then there was like randomly like in here like poop barrier, which is kind of funny. But anyway, I was like looking at these cards and I was like, why do all of these have exclamation points? And I just realized I'm in alpha, not new first. So I have no idea when those other cards were made, so I thought I would just like take a moment to reset that and see if we can find some new cards. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe those cards that we just looked at, those were in there from when the thing was first made. Now I understand why that one said, hey mom, am I famous yet? Because he's at the very start of if you just go to alpha and all custom cards. So now I understand. Now we can look at these ones and actually see what's new. Sorry about that. I was a little bit confused there. J. I-U? That's the same guy, right? Of course it is. Thunder Dragon Knight. Okay, all Thunder Dragon monsters you control become level 5 as long as this card is banished face up. Does that actually help? First off, most of the main deck ones are level 5, right? Except for except for the egg or whatever. And then I guess does making the fusions level 5 like help at all? This is a very strange card. This card, I guess this one does treat as a Thunder Dragon. Also, it's a little weird that it says like it has to be banished face up for that, because he must have not watched my banished face down ruling video, because if he did, he would know this card would not have to say that it has to be banished face up, because face down banished cards don't have effects. But yeah, I mean, it's not like the worst card. It's always interesting to see how people like decide to give like new support to other decks that are already existing instead of making full archetypes. This I don't know if it really hit the mark though. Oh good, they also have a field spell, Autodrome, which is made by the same creator, and its text is Dzeeff. Makes sense to me. This person took the time just to add a dark hole with non-English text in it, and you know what? I admire their dedication to their home language. Alright, so I finally found the first good card. I thought it would be a little bit easier than having to go through 10 pages of these custom cards, but Rainbow Resonator is, if you're the person watching this video, Kid Dynamite, this is the only good card I've seen so far. Rainbow Resonator is a level 4 monster, and it's a tuner, and it says, when this card is summoned, you can target one Resonator monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. You can only use this effect once per turn. If you control a Red Dragon Archery monster, you can select a number between 1 1 and 3, all Resonator monsters you currently control become that level. This card cannot be used as Xyz material. Now, why is this the only good card that I've seen? Well, it's the only good card because it fits into an existing theme in a cool way and a unique way to something that they don't really have. There are lots of Resonators out there that even have their own like reinforcement of the army. They have cards that special summon from a hand, but this card is really cool to me because it works with the already existing Resonator monsters. It builds upon the strategy that they're all about. I mean, the whole point of those cards, and sort of going along with like the anime, the whole point is they summon Red Dragon Archfiend archetype cards, and this goes along with that, and it helps the Resonators. And also, I think the coolest part about this card to me, at least from a thematic standpoint, is that last line, this card cannot be used as Xyz material. Obviously, this card can still be used for link summon, but I think that's really cool. I think it's a really interesting idea to sort of take the Resonator archetype, which is to help make synchro summons, specifically the Red Dragon Archfiends. This does all of that and helps have an extender for an already existing archetype. I like this card a lot. Congratulations. This is the only good card I've seen so far. And then we're back to the garbage. This one is called Sherlock Hound series, the Rope Pelter. I have no idea what that is. But anyway, this card's funny because of this last line. It says this effect is a once per turn effect and only a once per turn effect, which is just like, oh man, when you're trying to get to the 500 word limit on the essay that you're writing in high school, and that's what you put. This effect is a once per turn effect, okay, but it's also a once per turn effect. Thank you very much for clarifying. I was very confused before that was added to the text. The Adult Baby Robot Machine. You can special summon one monster with Adult Baby, and it's okay. I'm done with custom cards forever. This card has ruined it for everyone. I never want to see an Adult Baby card in my entire life. I can't unsee that, unfortunately. Custom cards have not improved much since I last looked at them. This is part of the reason why I don't like looking through these cards. There's just a lot of, I mean, a lot of these archetypes, they're probably not like terrible. Like I've seen some of these Calamity ones that look kind of cool. The problem is like they have so much text, and every single person out there thinks that their archetype is so unique and so much better than everyone else's archetype. And I think that the problem is that everyone doesn't realize that if everyone thinks that, well, nobody's archetype is like truly that unique. A lot of these use similar mechanics. You see a lot of Dragon Ruler type effects. You see a lot of things that are sort of borrowed from other decks out there, just sort of tuned to make them even better. I don't know. I don't really get a huge kick out of reading like custom cards. So I wanted to do this video because it was highly requested to me to actually go back and relook at these custom cards, but man, like it's so hard to find. You have to do so much digging to find like one cool card. To me, it's just not worth it in the long run. But hopefully you guys enjoyed my suffering, and I'll see you later. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Do not send me custom cards, please. I beg of you. I'm sure they're really cool. Just share them with people that will actually appreciate them, which is not me. But I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.